What's up? It's Marco, Sage of Soccer, and the US U20 roster has just been released for the upcoming Revelations Cup, and it is a very good team with some very big inclusions. The biggest of those inclusions is Jonathan Gomez, the huge left-back prospect playing in Real Sociedad right now. He's been called into both senior teams of the United States and Mexico, and he's going to be with the U.S. squad for this tournament. And that is a huge get for the national team. He's a huge prospect in his position, like one of the top in the world. And in addition to that, like the U.S. has a huge shortage of left backs at the moment. It's Jedi and Sam Vines. He's doing all right. George Bellewy's got potential, but like Jonathan Gomez could be that guy. He could be our backup right now, in my opinion. And it's really good that he's in this squad and we're giving him a look. We also finally get to see Justin Shea back with the squad. He hasn't had the best time since going over to Germany, but it's good to see how he's progressed. Playing those training sessions could have improved him a lot. We'll have to see. Interesting to see what his position will be. He could be playing a right back or center back for us. And we finally get Kevin Paredes back in the squad. He's missed the other ones through injuries or not being released. And we finally get to see him play. Again, not sure what position he can be. He can do a job at left back. I'm thinking it's going to be inverted right winger. So it's going to be really fun to watch. And now running through our entire squad, and it's a very good team. Like, the only people eligible for this team who I think were, I wouldn't even call it snub, just probably didn't get released, are Gabriel Slonina, which I bet Chicago didn't release him, and I'd prefer him with the full national team anyway, and Ricardo Pepi, who probably should have been here, but it's not a bad thing that he's with the full national team. So in goal, we've got Alex Borto and Chris Brady. I'm assuming that Chris Brady's going to be the starter. He's the heir to Gabriel Slonina, which amazing that he's already leaving the MLS at like 18. But him and Slonina have been like the two best youth prospects at goalkeeper in the United States for a good amount of time, especially in this age group. And it's really bad luck that they ended up at the same spot. But now one of them's going to get to play. Chris Brady, he's a very talented shot stopper. Similar to Matt Turner, his ability with his feet does leave a little bit to be desired, but I think there has been some big improvement as time's gone on, and I think it will only get better, but in goal, he can make a lot of really good saves. He's been amazing in the MLS Next Pro, and it's going to be fun to see what he can do at the Revelations Cup. I don't think he conceded a goal, or it might have been only 2 against Canada, I believe, when he played in the U20 tournament for CONCACAF, so it's going to be really fun to watch him. And Alex Borto, he's coming over from Fulham. Now, you can't talk too much about him because he really hasn't played much at the senior level. At his current level, I think he is very well-rounded. I do like his ability with his feet. Now, we will see if, as the levels get higher and he gets pressed more and more, will that be able to translate? I'm thinking it will, but we still have to see. And I'm glad that Alex Borto's in this team. He's a guy I'm a pretty big fan of. Hopefully he can do well at Fulham. I think last year he got all the way up to their third choice roster. He's training with the first team a lot, so he's a very talented prospect as well. Next, at center back, we've got Brandan Craig, Jalen, Neal, Marcus Ferkranus, and possibly Justin Shea. In terms of playing the ball out of the back, I think I'm a much bigger fan of Brandan Craig and Justin Shea with their abilities. Craig is just supremely talented with the ball at his feet. He could play the midfield no problem. I think when he made his appearance for the Philadelphia Union this year, he came into the midfield. Just so good on the ball. Defensively, it's coming along as well. He's gotten a lot stronger recently. He reads the game well. And I think that he does have a very good future there. He's currently the backup center back for the Philadelphia Union. And should an injury happen, he will be forced to go in, which I'm excited about seeing that happen. I'm hoping he gets more and more playing time next year. Center back is a bit different from other positions where I think you develop a bit slower, so I'm not really that pressed that he's not playing at the moment, but very talented prospect. And Justin Shea, depending on what position he plays, he could also play right back. He's very good on the ball. I'm not sure if he's like good enough with crossing and like attacking play to really play that right back role. But I mentioned before, I haven't seen him play in a very long time, so he might have improved in that part of the game. So I'll be excited to see him play either way. And then we got the 2 LA Galaxy center backs of Jalen, Neal, and Marcus Ferkranus. And I think Jalen Neal's guy I'm a bigger fan of. Ferkranus had some really good moments in the U20 CONCACAF tournament, though. Neal, he's kind of weird to talk about because he's very good on the ball, and he's really solid defensively. He has the athleticism, talented on the ball, like can read the game well, but he still has like a couple of mistakes in him, which again, like it's a very young center back. You have to acknowledge it, but it's not like a bad thing. So if he can really start to get like the consistency to his game and just dominate like every single game like we see he can, he'll become like a really good player and be fun to watch. Ferkranus, it's kind of tough because he is a little bit behind Neal, but I think it's only a little bit, and he could very easily become just an even more talented player in the future. Then at right back, I mentioned Justin Shea already, Mauricio Cuevas. He's been captaining the squad a lot, which you gotta love the leadership there. He's been playing in Belgium. Hasn't been with the first team at Club Brugge yet, but he's been with their second team a lot. He's got a very good left foot. We saw that in the CONCACAF U20 tournament, though it's not going to be necessary to switch over this time as we have some very good left backs, Jonathan Gomez especially. So he can do either way really, but I do like him at right back. I think he was played out of position so much that he really didn't do it. He really couldn't show how good he was at the CONCACAF tournament, and again, he only recently started playing again. He was one of those players who got kind of screwed over by the lockdown, but I'm really excited to see how he can do. We're going to have to see if he starts or if it's Justin Shea, but it's going to be really fun to watch them. Then Jonathan Gomez, just supremely talented left back. He can do just about anything on the field. Are probably the top prospect in this team right now. I think I can say that, yeah. I mean, I'd put him behind Ricardo Pepi and Gabriel Slonina, but I think that's it on this group. Just such a good prospect at left back. And then Caleb Wiley in this team as well. I think he's the youngest player on this team. He's a 2004 player, but a December 2004 player. And he has, honestly, even if he's behind Jonathan Gomez, I could see him playing as a wing. He's done a bit of attacking for Atlanta this year, come up with some goals, some good contributions. A very talented attacking left back who's only getting better. I kind of feel bad that he's behind Jonathan Gomez because he didn't get a chance to play at the CONCACAF U20, but he's just as talented as a prospect. Then moving on to the sixth and into the midfield, we've got Daniel Edelman and Rokas Pukstas. Daniel Edelman is just a very well-grounded player. He's adapted to the MLS a lot better than I thought he would, a lot quicker than I thought I would, I should say. And he's just a jack-of-all-trades player. He can defend very well, keep the ball in possession, has a couple of good passes in him. I really want to see him start to excel at that one aspect. It's a bit like when I'm talking about Obed Vargas. You can see why he's playing in the MLS because he doesn't have a weakness at his position, but let's start to get some strengths in that team. You can see with a guy who Diego Luna is probably less ready than the MLS than Daniel Edelman is, but you watch him play and you're okay, that's, you can see the real top level abilities. And right now Edelman's he doesn't really have a weakness, so I'd love to see him really this tournament be a lockdown defender, stop every attack in his path, or really excel in build up play. Either way, it's gonna be fun to watch. And Rokas Pukstas, he's been playing as the sixth in this team. I think it's a bit more by necessity because for some reason, the MLS has had a bit of a problem producing really good technical players for a bit of its history. But now a lot of its players are coming through really technically, but don't really have the physicality that other players have. And Rokas Pukstas brings that physicality. He's a beast in the midfield, and he remains technical on the ball. He's probably one of the midfielders in this team I'm the highest on because you can see his physicality translating to the highest level, as well as his ability on the ball just being very good. Now, similar to Jalen Neal, I think he has a bit of consistency issues, and it's not a talent thing. You see his first touch, you see a couple of plays he makes, but a couple of times he'll just lose concentration, give the ball away, and again, that's natural at this age, but again, has to be acknowledged. But I really like Rokas Pukstas' potential. Then moving on to the 8, I think it's the strongest position on this team. We've got 5 players in here, and you could argue that a couple more play this position, but starting these off, Paxten Aaronson, he'll probably be playing the striker for us in that false 9 role that he did really well at, and yeah, he why he's in this team. Similar to his brother, he can press a lot, but not as good as Brandan, but very technical on the ball, amazing in tight spaces, can combine, play those 1-2s that you need, and he's been popping up with goals at a great rate, and if he keeps scoring for the squad, man, the sky's the limit for him. We already saw as good as brothers can be, and he's further along at this age than Brandan is. That's not saying that he will be better, but it's definitely a good thing. Alejandro Alvarado, similar to Rokas Pukstas, a guy coming over from Portugal who has that physicality that, weirdly enough, is the thing the MLS squad players are lacking. But he came through the LA Galaxy Academy, though. Alvarado again, similar to Pukstas, a really talented player, but can make those physical plays, can get dirty with tackles, but still has that technicality, can play those 1-2s. And I think, especially in the final third, I think he's one of the better midfielders. Him and Paxten are probably the best in the final third right now. Just amazing in that, can make really good assists happen, can score the goals, like, really talented team. Next we got Caden Clark, who this time last year, he was probably the guy I was highest on this squad. Now I think he's probably the midfielder who I'm probably like the most unsure about, which is weird and I am still very high on Caden Clark, but this squad is very good. Again, really technical player, probably similar to Paxten Aaronson the most, but I'd say at this point like a little bit behind him, and he has been struggling in the MLS a little bit, but I think we know how talented he is and how good he can be. But this could be a very good launching point for him. See if he can really just make an impact with the squad and turn that into some success later. So next, Diego Luna, man, such a fun player to watch. Earned that move to Real Salt Lake, and he has played a little bit for them. And man, just supremely technical player, best feet on the team, can make goal contributions. The creativity is unrivaled in the squad, maybe unrivaled in the American program. Like, just such a fun player to watch. He does have a bit of his. I don't even say he would have like issues like physically. I'd say he's more like a Luc De La Torre type of profile. But I think he's really starting to put everything together. And at this point, he's a can't-miss prospect who I'm just loving watching. And then we got Jack McGlynn, who has been the best of the Union 4 players who are in the squad. He's been the best in the MLS, and he probably should be starting for them. Like, I watch the Union a lot. Like, it's tough to, like, break into that squad, but I think we can sacrifice either a Leon Flock or Jose Martinez just to add that creativity. And, man, best American's left foot. Like, out of any American, he's got the best left foot. Can strike a ball so well. I think he's underrated in build-up play. He's a really good technical player. And just with, like, he's not, like, a fast player, but, like, with his build, he kind of, like, moves around very well. It's like he has some really long strides. He can make tackles. He can cover defensively. It's not a strength of his, but I think it's pretty far from weakness, and he's earned a spot on this team. And man, he's such a good player. I think there's some interest in Leon Flock from Europe and Germany. He's probably going to end up moving back there this winter, and I think Jack McGlynn will be a starter next year for the Philadelphia squad, and he's going to be good. Next, we move on to wings, and we got 3 players to talk about. Brian Gutierrez, very good for Chicago. He's played a lot of the 10. He's kind of been like filling in for Shaqiri a lot when he's been missing, and I think that just speaks to the talent that Chicago sees in him. Really good technically, again. I think he's got a decent burst of speed, probably not like a burner like some other players, but still, like, it's kind of similar with a lot of these MLS players, like Caden Clark, Paxten Aaronson, and Brian Gutierrez. Like, I'm going to be repeating myself a lot, but like some very good profiles can be in that attacking position as well. Then Kevin Paredes, very good wing prospect. He moved to Wolfsburg. He's got a little bit of time for them. Just extremely talented. Left-footed player, which is a big deal. We know he can play that left back role, but I think he's going to be playing a right wing where he can cut inside. Similar with Quinn Sullivan, I'm have him starting as well. Having 2 inverted players with the Paxten Aaronson in that false 9 role, I think that could be really fun. Our fullbacks are going to be talented enough to get forward a lot. Both are going to be able to put in crosses from the right and left respectively. So I think having Paredes cut inside, and man, he's a very talented player. Like, I think I'll just say with him, like, he was better than Paul Arriola when Paul Arriola and him were at DC. He was a better winger than him. And Arriola's still in the national team, so we know how good Paredes is. And still have one more after him, but Quinn Sullivan, man, such a good goal scorer. We saw him pop up with those a ton. And I love his work rate as well. Like, man, he's, like, I know a bit too much about the Union because, like, I'm a fan of them, but, like, he's a guy who, like, is probably the most in-shape player on the Union in a team with Leon Flock, Alejandro Bedoya, Martinez. Like, that's saying a lot. Like, I don't think you understand how big a deal that is. Like, his work rate is probably going to be near Brandan Aronson's level. The goal scoring that he has is really good. I think he's a little bit underrated technically. I think he's a bit similar to Rokas Pukstas, where he has the talent, but, like, a little bit of concentration slips now and then. But man, like he's got so many positive traits to him. Good athlete as well. Like I think the wings in this attack is going to be even better than it was in the U20 tournament. And lastly, we got Jackson Hopkins who can be playing striker. And he's been playing a good bit more with Wayne Rooney taking the helm. I think that Wayne Rooney's a big fan of him, and that's a very glowing endorsement. But man, he's a younger player for this group as well. We just have a ton of talent. I think he's going to have a bit of a hard time seeing the field, but that take nothing away from Jackson Hopkins. He can still be a very good player. He can put the ball in the back of the net. He's had a couple of good moments in the USL. I'm excited about him, but man, this U20 group is so strong that I'm not sure if he'll be able to see the field. We got a very talented group right now. And yeah, that's everybody on the squad. It's going to be really fun to watch everybody play. And if I had to pick a starting lineup right now, I think we're probably going to stick to a 4-3-3. So I think it's going to be Brady in goal. I think it's going to be Brendan Craig and Jalen Neal at center backs. Justin Che at right back. Jonathan Gomez at left back. Rokas Pukstas at the 6. Alvarado and Luna as our midfielders. Sullivan and Paredes on the wings. And Paxten Aaronson up top. That's probably be what I'd go with. I think there's going to be some good rotation throughout this entire tournament. I'd expect everybody in this team to start at least one game, and I think they should. It's it's a U20 tournament that I want to win it. I want to beat Mexico, but it's kind of meaningless. We want to be able to test players out as much as possible. But that's my opinion on the squad. You got a couple of really good players. It's going to be fun to watch this Revelations Cup. And yeah, it's all talk right now. See you.